Hey guys, Mike here from the Unchained Teacher, and today what I'd like to show you is how to set up your Google Classroom, and then one quick tip that I've learned to really help you speed up the process. So if you haven't already, you can go ahead and download my free first week of lesson plans in the description below, or if you need help setting up your classroom, I have a 10-point checklist to do that, so that way you don't forget anything. I also have a Facebook group for first time or teachers in their first couple years for tips and trainings to just kind of help through the process. I know it can be a tough career to start, and so we want to support you in any way we can. So for today, for Google Classroom, you can see that I have my classes set up first hour through fifth hour. I teach two different classes, Math 8 and Geometry, so I have those kind of set up and color coordinated here. And so what I like to do is when you jump into Google Classroom, you're going to hit this button. What it's going to do is populate into this page. And so after that, you can go ahead and click the plus sign up here and hit Create Class. And then all you're going to do, you probably won't have this link if you've never created a Google Classroom. Otherwise, I just hit skip. And then you're going to want to name your classroom. So let's just call it 8th grade math, because that's what I teach. I don't really mess with any of these other sections. I just title it. Sometimes I put like the hour in. So 8th grade math, let's just say 4th hour. And then I hit create. And what it's going to do is populate your own classroom. And that's where we can add stuff to it. So it always populates up in the top left, at least for my screen. So when you go ahead and click into that, it has a blank kind of website here for you. And a couple things, you have a Google Meet link here that can generate, so you can use that as you want. Here's your class code that you're going to give to students. So you can click on this button. What I like to do is I like to project this in the first couple of days, get them into my classroom really quickly, just using this. Or what you can do is hit copy invite link and email it, do like a mass email to your students in that class. But you want to make sure the students in certain classes get in certain Google Classrooms. And then the other thing that you can do is hit the customize. So you can pick a theme, you can upload your own photo, or what I always do is I just pick one of these stock photos. So for today, let's just go ahead and use this one. Boom. And then you can pick a color. A lot of times they'll suggest a color that matches with your screen. So since they're both blue, that works for me. Okay, so now we have the setup done. And then what you're going to do is you're going to add stuff to this stream, and you do that by hitting Classwork here. In Classwork, this is where you're going to create assignments, quizzes, questions, materials, or reuse posts from other classes. So a lot of times what I do is I go to Google Docs or Google Slides. I create some kind of a project or a material or notes page, and then you can upload it into Google Classroom so that way your students can use it. What I like to do before doing any of that, though, is I like to create all of my topics. And topics you can just think of as like chapters in a book that students can come back to easily, and they can find stuff from certain chapters without having to scroll through the entire website. So what I like to do first is my first topic is always resources. And in my resources tab, I put things like my syllabus. I always create a digital calendar, and I put that in here. That way they have access to it at all times. And then I go ahead and put in my chapters. So chapter 1, chapter 2, and so on. You kind of get the picture there. So once my topics are made, and you can either do this chapter by chapter, or I just kind of do them all at the beginning, then you can start adding to them as you go. And where they'll see them is they'll see them in your stream. Now, the cool thing about creating stuff in Google Classroom is, let's say you want to create an assignment, and let's just say, let's just call this chapter, or we'll go lesson 1. So for lesson 1, what you can do, let's say you wanted to add your notes to this, you could hit your Google Drive and go ahead and find your notes. You could create a YouTube video or post one here. You could upload certain links. So a lot of times if we play like Quizlet or Gimkit, I can link those websites there. And then what you can also do right over here on the right is you can pick the topic. So maybe I'd put it in chapter 1 because this is lesson 1. A due date, if you are going to assign this as homework, you could put a due date on it. You could give it certain points. You could actually pick what students you want. So if you know some students are going to be gone, or if you are breaking students up into certain groups, you can select certain groups. And then another nice thing is if you teach multiple of the same class. So I know some teachers teach the same class all 5 or 6 hours of the day. What you can do is actually post this to all of your classes, or because I teach 2 different classes, I would only want it in my 8th grade classes, not my geometry classes. So I could click the ones that I want. Now, the only downside to doing this is that it pushes out the material right away. So I don't personally like to do this because if I'm in my 1st hour class and I push out an assignment, I found that students in my 6th hour class will have come to class with it already completed, and then they just mess around the whole time. So what I like to do, I can show you kind of a way around that. What I like to do is I put it just for one class, and then you can either hit assign right here, or you can hit schedule. So a lot of times what I'll do is on my prep hour the day before or after school, I'll set up the assignment or the material or the links I want for the next day. I'll hit schedule, and then you can schedule it for a certain time of the day. So I just usually do it like 5 minutes into class time is when I schedule that out, so that they get it kind of right after we have our initial greetings for the day. The other thing that you can do that's super helpful is if you, let's say I didn't want them to all go out at the same time, but I have, like I said, I have 3 of the same classes in the day. So what I would do is I would create that lesson 1 for this class. And then what I would do is I would go, let's just say I go to my 1st hour. I go to my 1st hour, I hit classwork. And then what I can do is I can create an assignment. But what I'm going to do, instead of hitting assignment and redoing the whole thing, I just go to reuse post. And the nice thing is that it usually populates at the top. If you just did that one, boom, reuse. And then from here, you can schedule it out for the time that you need it for that class. So instead of having to redo it every single time, if you want to schedule things out, you can just hit reuse post, and that makes it super easy for you. Now, that's kind of how you set up Google Classroom quickly. So if you want more tips on that, please leave a comment below. But the other thing that I want to show you, this is kind of a Google Classroom hack if you have used Google Classroom in previous years, is what I always do at the end of each year, I archive all my classes. And basically what that does is it shuts them all down, but it saves all of your links, all of your assignments, and then you can do something kind of cool with it. So let's go ahead. These are all my archive classes. I just created a demo 5th hour class for this. And so what I'm going to do is you click the 3 little dots here and you hit copy. I'm just going to keep it copy of demo 5th hour geometry. And what this does, you'll see, is that it gives you all of those links that you've used in previous years. So you don't have to go find them again. So if you use stuff over and over and over again throughout the years, what you can do now, as you can see, I go up here, it's going to populate copy of demo class. So it created a copy of everything that I did in my previous year. And then I'll show you, you can kind of drip out the material as you go. So if I click on this, you can see there's nothing in the stream, right? However, if you go to Classwork, I have every single link, every single assignment, every single material that I've used in the past. And now all you have to do is, let's say I wanted to upload this chapter 1 book PDF. If you go to edit material at the bottom, so you got to click on whatever you want, go to edit material, and then hit post. Or you can put it as a schedule. And now in our stream, oops, But anyway, in your stream, you will see that first link. So it's kind of a cool way to reuse stuff from year to year instead of having to redo everything. It just saves a lot of time, helps you focus on your students, help you focus on whatever you need to focus on for that day. So hopefully that was helpful. If you want more tips, I did create a Facebook group, like I said earlier. And in that group, I'm helping first, second, third year teachers kind of jump over that anxiety, that stress that comes with teaching for the first time. So if that's something that interests you,